Ever stood in your kitchen, staring at the faucet, and had a thought that feels surprisingly deep? What's really in this water? You're not alone. And once you go down that rabbit hole, you run into two main contenders vying for your trust: the water distiller and the water filter. On the surface, they sound the same, right? Both promise cleaner water. But let me tell you, the difference between them is like the difference between a security guard who checks IDs at the door and a Secret Service agent who evacuates the entire building. They are not playing the same game.
Purification method. All right, let's get right to the heart of it. How do these things actually work? This is the single biggest difference, and it explains everything else. First up, the water distiller. Think of a distiller as a mini rain cycle happening on your countertop. It's a beautifully simple, almost ancient process. You pour your tap water into a boiling chamber, and the machine heats it until it turns into steam. Just pure H2O vapor. Now here's the magic. All the gunk you don't want, we're talking heavy metals like lead and arsenic, minerals, salts, bacteria, viruses, doesn't have a high enough boiling point to turn into steam with the water. So it gets left behind in the boiling chamber as this sad, concentrated sludge. The pure water vapor travels into a separate chamber where it's cooled down, condenses back into liquid, and drips out as incredibly pure distilled water. It's a brute force method, but extremely effective. Now, let's talk about the water filter. A filter is less about a phase change and more about running an obstacle course. Instead of boiling, a filter pushes water through some kind of medium. The most common you'll see is activated carbon, which works like a chemical magnet. It uses a process called adsorption, where contaminants like chlorine, pesticides, and other volatile organic compounds, VOCs, get stuck to the carbon's massive surface area. Then you have other types, like sediment filters that just block physical particles, rust, sand, dirt. And for the heavy hitters, you have reverse osmosis systems, which use a super fine membrane to force water through, blocking almost everything else, including a lot of what distillation removes. The key takeaway here is that filters are selective. They're designed to target specific contaminants while often letting other things, like minerals, pass right through.
Water quality. So this brings us to the big question. Which one gives you better water? And the answer is, it depends entirely on what you mean by better. A water distiller produces water that is undeniably scientifically pure. We're talking 99.9% pure H2O. Because it removes literally everything that isn't water, you're left with a blank slate. This is fantastic if you need water for specific applications, like in a medical device like a CPAP machine, for baby formula, or in a science lab where mineral deposits could cause major problems. But here's the catch. In removing all the bad stuff, it also removes the good stuff, beneficial minerals like calcium and magnesium that our bodies use and that give water its taste. This is why many people describe the taste of distilled water as flat or bland. It's not bad, it's just nothing. It's the ghost of water. A water filter, on the other hand, delivers a different kind of quality. A good multi-stage filter will remove a huge list of harmful contaminants: chlorine, lead, PFAS, pesticides, but it's designed to leave those healthy minerals in. This is a huge deal for two reasons. First, health. We get minerals from our food, but getting them from water is a nice bonus. Second, and more noticeably, is taste. Those minerals give water a subtle, refreshing flavor that we're used to. Filtered water almost always wins the taste test for daily drinking because it tastes like, well, clean, crisp water, not an empty void. So if your goal is the absolute highest purity possible, the distiller wins hands down. If your goal is safe, healthy, and great-tasting water for everyday drinking, the filter has the clear edge.
Water production speed. Here's where things get really practical. Imagine you're thirsty. You walk to your sink, flip a switch on your under-sink filter, and instantly get a glass of purified water. Or you grab your pitcher filter from the fridge and pour. It's fast, it's on demand. Most filter systems are designed to keep up with the pace of a busy household. Now picture the same scenario with a distiller. You walk over to your countertop distiller and find it's empty because you have to fill it, turn it on, and wait. And I mean wait. A typical countertop distiller can take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to produce a single gallon of water. It is a slow, methodical batch process. If you have a big family or want to use purified water for cooking, a distiller simply can't keep up. You have to plan on your water needs hours in advance. So for speed and convenience, it's not even a contest. The water filter wins by a landslide. Energy consumption. Let's talk about the electric bill, because this is another area where the two are worlds apart. Remember how a distiller works? It boils water for hours. It's essentially a specialized slow-motion electric kettle. And as you know from making tea or coffee, heating water takes a significant amount of energy. A standard home distiller can use a substantial amount of electricity, which you will absolutely see on your monthly utility bill. It's the unavoidable cost of that ultra-pure result. Water filters are the most part the exact opposite. Most of them are incredibly energy efficient. A simple pitcher filter or a gravity-fed countertop unit uses 0 electricity. An under-sink activated carbon filter? 0. Even a complex reverse osmosis system that uses a pump to increase water pressure uses a tiny fraction of the electricity a distiller does. So if you're trying to be mindful of your energy footprint or your budget, this is a huge point in the filters column.
Maintenance. No home appliance is zero maintenance, and these are no exception. But the type of chore you'll be doing is very different. With a water distiller, your main enemy is scale. As you boil water, all those minerals and impurities you're removing get left behind and bake onto the inside of the boiling chamber, especially on the heating element. If you don't clean it regularly, that scale buildup will make your distiller less efficient and can eventually cause it to break. So you have to commit to a routine of soaking and scrubbing out the chamber, which can be a bit of a hassle. With a water filter, the maintenance is much more set it and forget it, but it comes with a recurring cost. You don't have to do much day to day, but every few months or maybe once a year, depending on the system, you have to replace the filter cartridges. When the filter media gets clogged with all the contaminants it has removed, it stops working effectively. Forgetting to change your filters is like never taking out the trash. Eventually, it stops doing its job. So the trade-off is simple. Do you prefer a regular cleaning chore or a recurring purchase and replacement task? Filter. Which is better? So after all that, which one should you get? Here's what matters. This isn't about one being objectively better than the other. It's about matching the tool to the job. Let me explain it one last time. A distiller is a specialist. A filter is a daily driver. For 9 out of 10 people watching this, a good quality water filter is going to be the right answer. It strikes the perfect balance of performance, convenience, and cost for everyday life.